today I'm going to paint this scene, which I took from a photograph, or I have from a photograph in Wells next to the sea in East Anglia. This is a fantastic place to visit, but what makes it really interesting is this old mill here. I think they used to bring the flour in, or the cargo, whatever, and load it in through here or into the boats, I'm not sure. So we've got interest here with in the foreground with this lovely vessel here, sailing vessel, and the Wells next to the sea in the background, a couple of nice tall barge there along the waterfront, and we've got the lighthouse out there, just a little hint at it, and a few yachts, so I could put those in. But there's a lot of paraphernalia here, and it's very complicated if you had everything. If you try to capture everything, might be a mistake. So I'll simplify some of that. But I like these shapes, and we've got that nice red car there. So we've got perspective as well, with the line of the shore coming here, and this pontoon, and the lovely boat there. So I thought we'd have a go at that. I've sketched it out already, so you can see my basic design there. But I've got to... my light's rather dim in my studio at the moment, but if I put my overhead lights on, it reflects off the paper there, and gives you a bit of a shine from the camera. So I'm going to avoid that for the moment while I wet it up anyway. Yes, I think we'll just wet up here, give my Langton's rough here. This is Daleroni paper. It's very good paper, £140. So you've got, actually when I put water on it, you can see the sketch a lot better. So I'll just wet all down here. I haven't put the tapes on actually, but never mind, maybe we'll go without that today. It's always nice to take the paint off, tapes off, because you get a nice reveal, a nice clean edge. Acts like a sort of frame, but if I did decide to frame this, it will give me that, just lose this margins. But anyway, we won't bother with that for the moment. Let's do that. I think that's quite wet enough, and I think I have to clean up one of my wells though. It's got it too sort of grubby. Although, to tell you the truth, I could use some of it here to give me a base colour for my water here. Could do that, give us a little bit of a tonal, kill that, all that white. If you have so much white, it's difficult to get the other tonal values right, to judge them. So generally we start off with our lightest lights and then move down. But I'm going to just put some blue in there now actually. I got rather a lot of cerulean there. I just put some cerulean in my palette, forgetting it's a great big soft lump, so a bit too bright there. I think I'll put that in the sky though. Let's just sweep this down. Just washing it down, let it run. And then I'm going to lift out some clouds. Getting a little bit lighter, a little bit more water as I go in near the horizon. So, but I think I'm going to put a little darker. I'm going to get a bit of ultramarine there. Put a little bit in there. The top of our sky. And let that bleed in. Just using a flat brush here. This is a 1-inch flat. So let's not fiddle with it. Then I'm going to get a brush, a damp brush, and see if we can't create some fluffy clouds. So I've got to get a bit of tissue, nice clean tissue to lift out the paint off my brush. Once I've got it, right, let's, I've got a nice Chinese brush here. These are handy for lifting cloud. So we'll wet that up a little bit. Squeeze out any excess and see if we can put a few cloud shapes in here, bigger to the in the ground above us, and then smaller into the distance. And the horizon, just some little lift a bit there, but also could put a bit of shadow actually under some of our clouds. So if I wipe that off. And then let's get a little bit of crimson alizarin in that blue, so we can give a bit of a cloud in here, a little shadow under the clouds. You often get that. Let's leave that, I think. Or should I have it a little stronger? I've got to remember it always dries a lot lighter. Right, let's leave that. Right. Now, while this is wet here, I'm going to, using my wet into wet technique, let's get a bit darker water going here. Yes, I think that's what we need. And all out here. It's a great harbour actually. Very popular for the children to come and crabbing off the sea wall. Further down here where this tall ship is. Well, this old barge actually. Not a four-master, certainly a barge. Just sweep it in here. And then we could put some in it later. And a bit of gouache or just lifting off some of the paint, some of the tint, and allow us to have some white paints showing through. Gotta give, right, that will do us, I think. But there are elements that are darker, sort of slightly bluey green as well. So let's use a bit of green that I've got left here on my palette. I've got a little bit of phthalo green as well. Don't normally use that. This is more useful in a tropical sea where you've got white curly sand and then the sunlight on it gives a nice sort of green, but there is a hint of green here, especially under here. We'll put some shadows in there in a minute, but I think I still need some darker blue. The blue reflects in the water, reflecting your sky, of course, but I'm going to, I need a darker blue, I think. That's a bit better. Trying to get a few directional marks as well. Have some dark shadows under this pontoons as well, so get some darker blues under here. I think I could come back when this is a little bit drier, perhaps, because it's bleeding in. But I like a degree of bleeding to give me the effect of the ripples. Oh yes, it's drying a little bit. So got some bigger, stronger marks here, darker under here. Got a little bit of the shadow of this building, casting somewhat of a shadow. Some little thicker paint. And dark under there. Let's add a bit of Payne's grey or something to make that darker. And also under there, I think. Right. How's that going? want to vary the colours, not always totally accurate, but to make it interesting. It is a painting, it's our interpretation. After all, it's not a... We've got the photograph. What we want is some artistic interpretation, a painting. It has to look painterly. Right. Okay, let's dab more, I think. This ultramarine giving some darker tones. That's what we need. I'm looking at my reference photograph. The sea is a lot darker than our sky, so I think we're justified in stepping up the colour a little bit. And also out here behind this boat. Right, let's leave this now. We can get some more details as we go. Right, now the next thing, let's do this hull of this boat. In my reference photograph, you could look and you could say, well, that's white, but it's not bright white, it's reflecting some of the blue here, so it's a little off white, really. So let's get a brush with a bit more control. So I just need to take the white down a little bit. So I've got just a little bit of that blue on the brush. A little bit of already on my palette there, just to take out that glare at the moment. And we've got to get the little planking of this sort of clinker, I think they call it. We'll put those in a moment. I want to get some of the lines in there that help us with the curve. And along here on this bit of the hull, it's a really lovely blue. I've got to get that in. So let's make sure we've got it a nice bit of thick paint. Yes, that can do the trick. still a little bit wet. I don't want it bleeding down into there. So let's be careful, leave a little gap perhaps. Yes. Oh, I think we're getting it there. Right, let's leave that for the moment. Now, we've got to get some colours into some of these buildings. So I'm just going to mix up a little bit of umber here. And a little bit of blue as well. I want this building in the foreground. I'm just going to wash in this. Sort of greyish tone building, so I want to keep it fairly light and airy. Right, and then we've got on the face of this building, I have to make this a much darker. Let's get some umber again, some blue, darker blue. I don't want it black, I want it fairly dark, but on the face of this, a sort of shadowy area. Yes, that could do it. Let's put a bit of a little redder colour though. It's just a little bit too dull. That way I have it there. So mix something up there. Got a bit of colour to it. Is that dry enough? Keep the shape of that. Yes, I think I can say that. We'll go with that. And also we can put some this pontoon where we've got the useful colour. You think, where can I use that colour in your painting if you're using it? You want to move around your painting as well. Don't work exclusively on one part. Move around a little bit, and you can get a better idea of the totality of it. Otherwise you can get a bit lost with it. We need something a bit darker now. Let's go a bit of Payne's grey in that brown mixture, and put some mark in here on this pontoon while I have it there. Right. Okay. And we've got colour on some of these roofs as well. Some great old buildings. Can you imagine when the sailing ships came in here, what happened? Let's again change the colour up a bit. Let's that grey roof there, got a little bit of umber in it. Again, I want contrasts. I've got to get a nice clean my brush a little bit. Get a nice little bit of reddish colour. I think some of this building, yes, we could do that along here. Don't want to get caught up in all the details. It's going to be a loose interpretation. It's an impression of what you see if you go out to Wells next to the sea. That's how it's pronounced, Wells next to the sea. This is the east coast of England, UK. I need to put a little shadowy area perhaps on there. You can't see all the detail from this distance that we have here. You just see suggestions of buildings here in the harbour area. I'll put some windows in some of these buildings. You'll see that as we go. It starts to read a little better when you've got some windows in. This is the harbour pathways. All the pedestrians come along here. I've got to get a few of these boats in as well. Let's get a little bit darker here. Actually, we need to have some darks along this sea wall here. A little bit of dry brush as well. Bring out some of that sparkle, or the texture of the paper, I should say. It get a bit of a Payne's grey there, and get some darks in here. Marks on the side of the pontoon here. Let's get some green as well. Always got a bit of green growing, a bit of algae and seaweed. And let's get a little bit of warmth in there on that. It's catching a little bit of sunshine there. And along here, pontoon there. But let's get some contrast going. We need that so people can read that as a pontoon. But I need some darks to set off the thing there. Right, a little dark in there still. And along there, along the water there. A few marks in here. Now I need a little bit more on there. And the side of that building, yes, we need a nice bright warm colour. So I've got a bit of cabin orange there mixed with some of my other colours to a little bit of ochre, sort of different tone. I've got to get that roof, that building, you'll see that come in a minute. And along here, of course, we've got to get that old gantry in. Box on that boat there. We'll put some nice colours in there in a minute. But let's get that building down there. It's in the shadow actually. So I think we need to show that a little bit. Just keeping it a wash really. And let's get some reddish, bricky colour really down some of these elements here. Yes, definitely is a brick in these places. I've got to get these rails in as well to stop people falling in the water here. You'll see them come along here in a minute. Now let's change. Let's get a bit more yellow into one of these. Just got to change it. As I said, they're not always a slave to the photograph, but I get approximately the tone, the tonal value. That's as important as the actual colour. So you can contrast light and dark. Then that roof has got to have that in contrast there. So let's get it a little grayer. Right, now I need more dark here. some details in these buildings. I want to keep it, every element of your painting with some interest. Got those planks of wood there. Again, I can put more detail in them as I go. Now that one there, that's got to be a, let's get a bit of umber and touch of blue, something different anyway, make a slightly different colour. Yes, it's got to be some contrast, that's it. That's what we can do. As I say, it doesn't read as big old mill buildings until I put some sort of window shapes in them. You'll see it then. We'll wait till it's a bit drier for that. Oh, I made a mistake here. I should have put some blue down into there. See if we can suggest some buildings behind there. Let's clean my brush off well. Let's see if I can hint. That's not very good. Must clean your brush. That's better. I can do that now. Right, wet my brush up well. Soften some of the paint that I put in there. Oh yes, I've noticed now I need a smaller brush to do some detail. So I'm going to just put a bit of, I've got a bit of light red there. Let's see if I can put some more detail in these. A bit of roof around there. It's a jumble of roof shapes and the chimney there. So again, just trying to put some different colour in. The buildings here. Sort of sheds and a warehouse type of things really. Some detail here. Let's get some of these windows in. That's it. Some dark ones in there too. Better hint at them. I've got to get that roof in as well. There's a roof line there. Now I think I can put a few darker marks just to help our design a little bit. Big doors, and where they would have lowered in the grain, or the bales, or whatever cargo came in here. I'm not sure what it handled. Right, there we go. Some lovely little details in these buildings. I've got to get, yes, there's a mooring post there. I will put a lot more detail in when we go further down the road. I need some windows in here. I'm going to get these this gantry here. The roof comes along like this. It's sort of come way out here, I think. Yes. So I don't want it too dark. I don't want any blacks. It will kill my painting too much. Some darks are fine, but if you go straight to black, that's what we want. Again, we'll change slightly different tones in places. Okay, and then yes, how it comes down here. And we've got a nice green, actually. I'm going to use my phthalo with a touch of sap to make it interesting. And go like that. Leave a hint of a window. Right, there we are. I'll use some gouache to put in our windows later. But let's get some neutral tint or a bit of Payne's grey. Dark tone, but don't want it too dark. Right, let's get into these gantries coming in. These big girders supporting this. Yes, they come down. To the dock there. On this one. Yeah. There we go. And we can put a nice, we have to have a little bit of shadow under here. We can do our more detail. You can do lots of detail actually as you go, depending on how you feel about it. I think I could put more shadow under here. Bit of dry brush here. I think I've gone a bit too dark, a bit too light rather, with the face of that building. It's getting a bit of shade. So let's do that. Now let's, should I press on with this? Yes, let's get some colours into this vessel here. Like boxes and all the paraphernalia that vessels have. And I've got to get that masked in a minute. So let's mark it out. So I just about see my sketch. It comes right out of our scene here. What I'm going to do is get some nice, slightly yellower tone there to represent our wood. No, that's something a bit yellower, lightening up a bit. I think that can do it. And yes, a bit more colour in it, I think. Why not? It's catching bits of light, so we don't have to necessarily take a ruler to it. Now we've got lots of wood on these boats. Something with decking there. That's it. And then we've got to get, oh, there's another streak of blue. Let's get some ultramarine going. Nice, thickest mixture. Nice clean mixture if we can. And that comes along, it's along here. this is drier, we can beef up this bit of the hull, this nice blue colour, varying it a little bit. Of course, it's not uniform, so light is varying how it strikes it, but I think I'm going to put a bit more actually on there. Make it a bit more prominent. That's it. Now, I need to do something to represent the sail, actually. So let's just get a bit of neutral tone. Just stroke over some of that white that's still there. Hopefully, I don't think I'll have to come back with some gouache for this. I should have preserved it, really. But we can put some different, some whites in there with some gouache, I think. Slightly, here's the ribs. You see the ribs there? Little boxes, and could put a life preserver as well down there in a minute. But I've got to try and get some of these lines of this clinker though. Try and get those nice curves. Try and preserve them if we can. Out of the shadow of the that's better. We need to get a darker bit here, showing our shadows more. And I think we'll put some more vivid, darker tones in here. Yes, there's a big, like a spark coming across there into our scene. Yes, oh, and just here, there's a big mooring element here. It's just a little bit of dry brush there so we can give it a bit of texture. Yes, a little bit more water. Big high thing here. Coming to a little key here. Right, there we go. Let's get it. And add a white cap to it. I'll put some gouache in there later. That's it. Why do we do that? You can make it bigger, I think. Right, let me put on the lights a little bit. It's too dark in here now. Right, now the lights are on. You can see it's brighter in colour, but I haven't got the water reflecting there and coming back into your eyes. Give you that's could put a shadow side to that as well. Right, and we've got to get a lot darker under this now, so let's get some Payne's grey and that needs to be much thicker. You need a good bit of shadow under your boat, under your hull of your boat, to make it read. Shadows coming out to soften those edges up a little bit. Right, and some more detail in this box here. I've got to get some of these sort of posts here, what do they call it, these supports, these holds the mast up. Right, what we got down here, got a big old barge here, big sailing barge. You often see these in wells. Marvellous. If you can get to see them. Sometimes they have made out like a tea room. You can sit and have tea. Right. Now let's get, we still need to get some of these masts in, some of these lines. Quite a few sailing vessels here. I've got to try and catch some of those. I did have a car there actually. I seem to have lost my car. Oh, here he is. We'll do him in a minute. Actually, there's the lighthouses out there just on this bit of land. A few different buildings. See here. I said there's lots of detail in the photograph, far too much actually for you to really put in and to determine what it is. But what you can do is hint at it, of course. That's what you do. Say these, can you see, and you put these little details in, it starts to read. So this is the classic thing that happens with painting. Often it's going through that ugly phase. You're thinking, oh, this is not making sense. But just put a few details in and suddenly it reads. We ought to put some people in, shouldn't we? Give some scale. Can do that. Make some little shapes. Represent people. It's a very popular destination. Holiday makers. Let's something now missing. We need some more. Oh, I know. Perhaps I better get some of that. Those details of the shoreline. Let's put a bit of life preserver there. A bit of tackle. You've often got lots of tackle on boats. That's what that needed, a little bit of colour, I think. Right. Now, a bit more shadow under there, I think. This pontoon. And we need to get some of the uprights here. And over here I've got a, where is it going? I think along here we got some rail as well. You don't want people falling in. So you can add lots and lots of detail to make it read. If you're going to put the detail, it's put it in the foreground. Let's get something here like this read. Yes, we need under there. Right, so something, oh, I know what I'm missing. Of course, this boat's not looking right because I haven't got any of these lines in, have I? So it's good to just bite the bullet and go for it. There's a lot of wires actually supporting these masts. Someone from here coming out. That's it. I think perhaps we need to go and put the some boats in there. put a red one in. A red of sort anyway. There's a bit of interest in here. Elements of red anyway. And I've got to get that red car as well. It's a very red, vivid car. Just looking now. It's just about here. All right. Well, here is the finished painting, and I've done a few alterations since my camera died on me. Mainly I've put some gouache in, and I've altered the tonal value of the sea and also the shadow under the boat. You've got to do that, and also a little more detail on the gantry on this section here. And I can see, I zoom in a little bit, I've also put some yachts in. I've put some little hints at the white of their hull and the lighthouse out in the where is it? There it is, the lighthouse there, and a few details here, and gouache on the sail, which is bound all around that spar, and a few details here in the foreground. Try and make that pontoon a bit more realistic, and that car, you can see the car there, and a few pedestrians. I don't know if you can spy them, but they always add a little scale to your painting, so it's quite a good idea to do that. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little effort today, Wells Next to Sea. And if you like it, please give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to be informed of more paintings that I do, please hit the bell and the subscribe button, and then you'll be notified when I do more work. Thanks for watching.